Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
So after a week break, we're back. We're halfway through the series. We're diving into Queen of Shadows. So exciting.
It is very exciting. Already this book has just... it starts out with a bang.
Yeah.
Not really a bang. I guess more of just like just action. Like
some action. We're starting to see some old characters that we didn't like too much have a bit of a different side.
Uh-huh.
But we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into anything, as always, if you haven't already, make sure you read the first 4 books and the first 9 chapters of Queen of Shadows so nothing gets spoiled for you, because we talk about anything and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So chapter 1 of Queen of Shadows kicks off with a real doozy of a prologue. It's all from Dorian's point of view, and let me tell you, things are not great for our princeling. The darkness is totally taken over his mind. He is so messed up, he can't even remember his own name or the names of the people who meant a lot to him. All he can really hang on to is the one awful moment that just plays on repeat. Screaming, blood, and frozen wind. The moment when the woman he loved, Sorsha, was beheaded. He is blaming himself, saying a prince should have stopped it, a prince should have saved her, but he couldn't. And now he figures no one's coming to save him either. He's still stuck in the real world, but he's barely there, just going through the motions like a puppet. And the worst part? Nobody even seems to notice how messed up he is. And he hates them for it. He is remembering that the woman said, "I was not supposed to love you," before she died. Now he figures he deserves all this darkness and whatever that thing is. He knows he should fight it, especially after the Blackstone collar got slapped on, but honestly, he is not sure how much fight he's got left. So yeah, not really a late start to the book. Time to buckle up.
I was pretty confused starting this chapter because I was like, who the fuck is this now? And then I was like, okay, duh. This is Dorian. Because, yeah, like, nothing is said. Like, there's no names in this chapter because he's not remembering the names, so.
Yeah, I was wrong. I do actually have a quote from this one, and it was kind of partially in that little blurb. But "I was not supposed to love you," the woman had said, and then she died. She should not have loved him, and he should not have dared to love her. He deserved this darkness, and once the invisible boundary shattered and the waiting thing pounced, infiltrating and filling him, he'd have earned it. Our poor boy.
Yeah. I'm worried for him.
Yep.
I just want him back to normal. But chapter 2 brings us back to Aelin, and she is back in Rifthold, and she's hitting up the dodgy underground spot, the Vaults. It's a hot, stinking mess of criminals and just general lowlifes, but Aelin's got a mission. Figure out what's gone down in the city while she was away. She's dyed her hair auburn to avoid being recognized as the king's champion. She's lurking at the bar, feeling a bit broke, but totally ready to take down anyone who tries to mess with her. She spots one of Arobyn's guys, Turn, who immediately recognizes her. Like, so much for the attempting to change her hair color, and nope, he just recognizes her. I think he calls her Arobyn's... I have to look that up, what it was that he called her. It was like Arobyn's favorite bitch. If memory serves, you were always his favorite bitch.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God. So he tells her that Arobyn's in a booth in the back and he's meeting with a client. So Aelin heads towards the booth, steeling herself to see Arobyn, who she still has, obviously, major issues with after everything you put her through. She's been doing some serious planning on her way back, ready to bury the 2 guys in the city who ruined her. Even though her magic vanished when she got back to Ardalan, she reminds herself that she was a killer long before fire was in the picture. Right as Aelin gets close, Arabin's client gets up and leaves, and Aelin, quick on her feet, slides into a nearby card game to blend in, and she catches sight of the client. And it's none other than Kale Westfall.
What's Kale doing talking to Arabin?
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, because Kale knows, right? He knows the history between Celaena and / Aelin and Arabin. I don't like that. That didn't sit right with me.
Well, yeah. I'm sure those questions will be answered.
Mm-hmm.
You know it can't be that bad because you already had part of the next book spoiled for you, so you know.
What did I have spoiled for the next book?
Never mind. Chapter 3.
See, this is partly why spoilers don't really matter to me, because it's not like I remember them.
Yeah, so chapter 3, the chapter kicks off with Aelin watching Kale leave and is glad he seems unharmed, but seriously wonders what he was doing dealing with Arabin there. Same girl. Same.
Mm-hmm.
She decides confronting Arabin is the way to go instead of chasing after Kale. Aelin strolls up to Arabin. He's being his usual charming, creepy self. Acting like she just popped by for a casual visit. He is totally aware that she knows Kale was his client, and hints that he knows way more about Aelin's life and her magic than she thought. Even shows off a scar he got from Wesley. He basically tells her he's glad she's back because things have been rough since she left. Then the bomb drops. Aedion has been arrested for treason and is set to be executed in 3 days. Arabin acts generous, offering his help and resources to save Aedion. Mm-hmm. But of course, there's a price. Not Arabin with a price for something.
No.
Never. He does it out of the goodness of his heart.
What heart?
The price is Aelin has to capture one of the Valg demons for him. Arabin also hints that she might find someone she's looking for in the tunnels later tonight. Because that doesn't sound sketchy coming from him.
Nope.
So Aelin is reeling, but Aedion's rescue is now her top priority, even if it means making a deal with the devil. Before leaving the vaults, she flips a coin. Heads, Arabin had betrayed her again. Tails, the king's men. Just as 4 of the king's men enter, the coin falls on Tails, and Aelin Galathinius is ready for bloodshed. So yeah, Aelin's got her mission now, and things are about to get really messy.
So chapter 4, we're getting a bit of Aedion's perspective here, and things are seriously rough for him. So we know that he's stuck in the dungeon cell, and he's feeling like he's probably going to die soon. He's got a really bad infection from an injury that he got during the chaos when Sorsha was killed. And he's trying to hide how sick he is from the guards, hoping that he dies before the king can use him as bait for Aelin. He's also seen the Wordstone collar the king has and prays that Dorian died before getting stuck in one of those. Sorry,
womp,
no.
womp.
He definitely got stuck in one. Aedion is just enduring the pain and waiting for death, hoping it shows up before Aelin does. Aedion is in a pretty bleak spot, just hoping to die quick to protect Aelin. Not a fun time for the Wolf of the North.
Why has it got to be the Wolf of the North? Because I hear Wolf of the North and I think the Starks from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know.
Like the Wolf of the North was Robb. Okay? Robert Stark. Not Aedion.
Okay. We'll just gloss over that. We just won't call him the Wolf of the North anymore.
He's more of like the Ken doll of the North.
Fair. Okay.
Oh, that's a little mean description, but anywho, on to chapter 5. Going into dangerous territory there. And here, because Aelin is hauling ass through the Rifthold slums, covered in blood, and trying to lose the 20 guards on her tail. She's thinking about how she doesn't have her magic back and has to rely on her old assassin skills, which feels kind of annoying after being able to zap demons with fire.
Fair.
She leads the guards on a wild chase through the streets, climbing over crates and squeezing through windows into some poor people's apartment. Whoopsies!
that seems like a little on the comical side, but not at the same time.
She leaves them a coin for the damage and escapes onto the roof, then shimmies down a drain pipe and into the sewers. The flashbacks from the previous book.
Yep.
Aelin hates the sewers because of a bad experience that we shall not talk about. Yep. But she uses them to get around, following some sounds into a dark tunnel. She almost throws a rock into the darkness, but is stopped by a cool female voice. It's the hooded guard from the vault who is with Chaol. The guard recognizes Aelin and offers to take her to the captain. Aelin's a bit wary, but figures being chased by 20 guards means going with this stranger is the better option. They walk through the sewers, and Aelin pumps the guard for information, finding the guards chasing her down don't work for the captain of the guard. They reach a small, slick staircase leading to a walkway, and the guard is about to go up the stairs when Aelin, ever cautious, pulls a knife and puts it to the guard's throat.
There she is.
Yep. The bitch is back.
Oh, yes. And of course, chapter 6, we're just carrying on with the same scene. Aelin has a knife to the mysterious woman's throat in the sewers. Turns out that this woman is part of the rebel cause, and the big bombshell is dropped that Chaol abandoned his position at the castle 3 weeks ago to join the rebels. Aelin is floored by the news, and the woman, despite being at knife point, isn't shy about calling Aelin out for her past actions against the rebels. They had a pretty intense back and forth with that. Like, Aelin just kind of just like, well, what do you expect me to do? My friends were being threatened. So Aelin agrees to go with the woman, demanding she take her to Chaol, and they move through the dark, echoing tunnels, and Aelin picks up on male voices ahead. Soon enough, none other than Chaol himself emerges from the darkness carrying an injured, thin man. His eyes lock with Aelin's, but he's not smiling. Looks like Aelin found her captain. Then things are about to get interesting.
So, chapter 7, and it's a whirlwind of intense conversations and painful truths between Aelin and Chaol. Aelin is still reeling from the news. This must have been a lot for her to take in, especially when she gets the news that Dorian is alive but imprisoned in the castle by a Valg prince via the Wordstone Collar. Their conversation becomes a brutal clash. Chaol, looking rough and bearing the scar Aelin gave him, tries to explain the horrors of the Valg activities in Rifthold. How they hunt magic wielders and turn them into vessels. Aelin is furious that Chaol didn't warn her and blames him for Dorian's enslavement, accusing him of being unpredictable and playing with magic while she was in Wendelin. Chaol, in turn, defends his choice, stating he sent her to Wendelin for her safety. The tension escalates as Chaol reveals he knows how to free magic by destroying the King's 3 Wordstone Towers, but refuses to tell Aelin, fearing her power. Honestly, fuck him for that. Fuck him for that.
I know they're keeping things from each other, and as much of a Chaol girly as I am, I could not get behind him in this chapter.
No,
could not. He does make a good point. I think in this chapter, he does basically flip what Celaena or Aelin said about letting her know. He was like, you could have let us know what was happening.
Yeah.
And she never did. She never sent, and she even noticed that her internal dialogue was kind of I could have, I probably should have, whoops, that's my bad.
One of the lines that he says, you might have it in the notes here, but when he makes a little dig at her for playing with fire with her fae person or whatever while they're here suffering, it's just like, excuse the fuck out of me?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of big feelings that were not being conveyed in the right way.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're both, we're getting a lot of Kale's, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, we know that Aelin can be childish. We can know that she can be pretty selfish in like some of the things that she does or says. We're used to that with Aelin. That's what we know of Celaena. But this was like a total flip for Kale. I feel like there was potential for him to be better, and Sarah just didn't give it. She's like, no, we're going to make everybody not like Kale right now.
We're going to make everybody not like Kale. Period.
Yeah. I am still holding out hope. Full stop.
So back to the chapter. So yeah, he refuses to tell Aelin, fearing her power. He claims Aelin is a monster for her past actions, unlike Dorian, who has never killed anyone.
He's never had to.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, he could have rebelled against his father earlier, but also he didn't really get his magic until later. Celaena knew that she had magic from being a child, and she was terrified of that magic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been like, what, months since Dorian started attempting to use his magic? Like, you don't think once he gets more powerful and actually has to start fighting for something that he's not gonna kill people?
Can we also just recognize for a minute, because I never really thought about it, I have had a very warped sense of time. She's only been gone for 2 months?
Yeah.
It's only been 2 months. It's only been 2 months. Okay. That floors me. It feels like it is so much longer than 2 months. And yeah.
So with this, Aelin is enraged. She reveals the full horror of the vow callers and how only fire or beheading can stop them, hinting she might be the only one capable of freeing Dorian or at least giving him mercy. The argument culminates in Aelin demanding to know why Kale was meeting with Erebin, and he admits it was to get Erebin's help to kill the king. Kale also reveals that he lost his sword, and now it's just Kale, no longer the captain of the guard. And that is the truest statement of the chapter. He is just Kale.
Just Kale.
I know you're a Kale girly, but I really want you to hop on the train to somebody else. Because I always feel bad shitting on him when you're a Kale girly, but I can't.
I will literally be on just anybody's train. I am just a whore for the
I can't wait till you hop
male
on the
characters of
trains.
These books. Oh.
Aelin pushes him, asking if he could kill the king, and Kale, still seeing Dorian as his true king, avoids a direct answer. Aelin finally tells Kale what happened to her in Terrasen and Wendelin, but keeps the third word key a secret. She also reveals that she returned empty-handed without an army, much to Kale's dismay. The chapter ends with Aelin returning to her apartment, finding a note from Ren, and reflecting on Sam's death at Erebin's hands. She decides she's now her own champion, and accepts Erebin's offer to help rescue Aedion in exchange for a Valg demon. Talk about some serious emotional punches.
Yep.
What a lovely little reunion.
Is it though? I was imagining that going much, much better in my head.
There is a little quote here about, like, her own champion part. You remind me of what the world ought to be, what the world can be, she'd once said to Kale. Her face burned. A girl had said those things. A girl so desperate to survive, to make it through each day, that she hadn't questioned why he served the true monster of their world. She could forgive the girl who needed a captain of the guard to offer stability after a year in hell. Forgive the girl who had needed a captain to be her champion, but she was her own champion now.
Yes. Yes, queen. What are we at? Chapter 8? That was a really long chapter.
Yeah.
Like that was almost the length of 3 chapters in one. I didn't think there was ever an end to it. Oh, it makes me so sad because I had such high hopes for Kale now that he was finding himself, working with the rebels. That was pretty cool. But just the way that he emotionally vomited on Aelin.
Yeah.
And was just all ugh.
We finally get some Manon.
Finally, yes. This chapter was a little bit of an eye opener because I knew that they obviously were like ruthless, like we got that from when she was first introduced, but I think I got a little numb to it because we didn't really get much more of it. But the end of this chapter kind of opened my eyes a bit to their true nature. But I'll start at the beginning of the chapter. So it drops us into Morath, Duke Parrington's mountain stronghold, where Manon, the wing leader of the Iron Teeth Witches, is stationed. Her temper is on a short leash, especially when dealing with the Duke and his creepy companion that we know is Celaena. She's wearing a dark collar and emanates a wrong scent. Manon is smelling a lot of weirdness coming off of everything and everybody. Yeah. She doesn't like the smell of them. Also, Celaena is wearing a collar. Have we not been told that the collars are for like the magical people for holding a prince? Because she started out just with a ring. Your face is saying a whole lot of, I can't answer this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, no comments.
I thought that was interesting that she's now wearing a collar, and she is just like all sorts of fucked up. Yeah. Manon is very annoyed with the Duke's orders because he's telling them to just scout. They are not to engage with any enemies, and it basically goes against everything that the witches are trained for. And later, Astrid questions why they're just sitting around and not fighting, and Manon snaps at her, reminding Astrid who's in charge, and even physically assaults her to reinforce the message. Despite the harshness, it's clear that Manon does value Astrid's wildness and loyalty, though. That part, I felt bad for Astrid. Like, she really got put in her spot. And as night falls, Manon and her 13 take to the skies for a hunt. Manon revels in the freedom of flight, leading her coven on a hunt for humans. They spot a small cottage, and Manon, eager for amusement after her frustrating day, steers Abraxas towards them. I like how I gotta find the part where she talks about Astrid. When she tells Abraxas to fly and he sucks in like a great breath, he tucks his wings in tight and he falls off the side. That was such a fun, visual. How he's just like tumbles and just like plays dead until like the last second and then like swoops off. Yeah, behind, Astrid whooped, and Manon turned to watch her second fling her arms out and lean back in her saddle until she was lying flat on the mount's spine, her golden hair unbound and streaming. such wild ecstasy. There was always a fierce, untamed joy when Astrid flew. Manon occasionally wondered if her second sometimes snuck out at night to ride in nothing but her skin, foregoing even a saddle. Yeah, she probably does. But yeah, she also says in this chapter too that like no children, like when they go for their hunt, they do not hunt children. That is sort of like an unspoken rule among the 13. Um, but yeah, so it ends with them going for a little bit of fun. And yeah, like what I was saying, like this one like really set the stage for like the dark reality of the witches under the king of Ardalan's rule. Shows Manon's internal conflict between loyalty, duty, and her brutal nature. So I can't wait to see where this goes.
Smells like children. So our final chapter for this episode, chapter 9, and we jump back to Aelin after she sent the damning letter to Erebin. She's found a package waiting for her at her apartment. Her sleek, black, full-body suit with hidden blades, custom-made years ago by Erebin. It's a reminder of his power and control, but Aelin decides she can use it to her advantage for her mission to rescue Aedion. She embraces becoming Celaena Sardathian once again, the lethal assassin. Just as she's getting ready, a mysterious cloaked woman arrives in a handsome cab. Aelin, ready for a fight, confronts her with a knife. The woman reveals herself to be Lysandra, the courtesan Aelin had a rivalry with in the past, and she's brought a child, Evangeline, with her. Lysandra begs Aelin not to kill her, revealing that Erebin sent her to warn Aelin about his plan to free Aedion, but also as a present for Aelin to kill. Lysandra then drops a major bomb. She gives Aelin a letter from Wesley, Erebin's former bodyguard, revealing that Erebin explicitly ordered Sam's torture and death and even planned Aelin's capture. This horrifying truth fuels Aelin's rage. Evangeline then reveals that Lysandra scarred her own face to prevent her from being sold into a worse life, sacrificing her beauty so she wouldn't be sold. Aelin realizes Lysandra's true character and that Nehemia would have done the same. The chapter ends with Aelin accepting Lysandra's offer of friendship. Do I smell a powerful new alliance against Erebin?
Ooh. As soon as she got brought into it, I was like, this fucking bitch. What does she want now? But I'm glad. I'm happy with how that chapter panned out. Also, at first, I didn't really like catch on to how old the child was, and I was like, is this going to end up being like hers and Erebin's like child, or hers and like Sam's child or something? Like, but then I realized the age just didn't match up at all, and then I was like, okay, I'm starting rumors. I'm the gossip here, but yeah. So far, like, this is intense. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thoughts, feelings, theories?
I am, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. There was so much to unpack in those just 9 chapters.
Yeah.
Because we got, like, almost everybody's perspective. Because we got Dorian's, we got Aelin's, we got Kale's, we got Manon's.
Aedion's.
Who else did we get? Aedion's perspective. The only one that we don't see yet is what's going on with Rowan.
Yeah.
Like, we know like where she left him and like what he was doing or what he was going to do, but ooh, this is it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I have the biggest thing that like I really zoned in on is the fact that Celaena is wearing a collar. I think that's really important. I think she is going to be really important in this book. And I can't wait. But yeah. I don't know what else like really to pick up on here, because there was a lot being laid out.
I have to commend your willpower to not read the rest of the series, because I know what happens and I had to go finish it as soon as we finished Airfire. Like, could not stop.
I don't want to get too confused with like the chapters as we're reading it. So I want everything to be not muddled up in my head. So it's taking a lot of willpower. Like I said that like I read the first page of like chapter 10, and that was basically because I felt like I needed a hit. Like like I'm an addict. And that's all I gave myself. So
do we have anything else to say about Queen of Shadows?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think.
Before we end the episode, we have a little bit of a spoiler talk in terms of ACOTAR, with some ACOTAR news. So if you don't want anything spoiled for that, just skip the rest of the episode, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. A little bit of speculation in the mass universe. Have you seen all of the big ACOTAR books that are popping up around?
Yes.
Where
I've been following
this month
all
is the 10th
of it,
anniversary.
And I'm waiting until it's the 26th,
the
right?
Breadcrumbs. 21st.
21st.
I said like all the breadcrumbs. Like I'm so excited. So excited.
I'm keeping fingers, toes, feet, arms, legs, everything crossed that Elaine and Az are not going to be the coupling.
They are definitely, I am a firm believer that it is going to be a love triangle between Lucien, Azriel, and Elaine. That is, I don't want it. Nobody wants it, but
there's a lot of people that want it,
which is
the fucking weird thing. Like, it's so corny that the 3 Bat Boys get the 3 sisters.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I don't like that. And
like, let her go plant her fucking flowers in the spring court.
Oh my god. What if it's going to be a love triangle between
that would be so I would love that. That would be so entertaining.
It would.
Tam, Lucien, and Elaine.
But I really think that Elaine would be well suited for Tamlin.
Absolutely. I agree. Like, her whole persona is so spring court coded.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I said before, I want to see Tamlin get a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Personally, to me, him and Rice are the same, but just different.
Font.
Yeah. Reese. Sorry, Reese. Old habits die hard.
You didn't say Reese just
I said Rice.
Rice? I didn't even pick up on it.
Listen, I read the entire series before I knew the pronunciation, so that has stuck with me forever. And I do feel like it should have been Rysand, not Rhysand, but...
Same. That's how I started, too.
Yeah, Reese and Tam Tam are the same person, just different colors.
Yeah. And it's only because of seeing Reese through Feyre's eyes. Like...
Yeah. You can't hate one without feeling at least somewhat the same about the other. Like, we might have seen more of Reese's redeeming qualities, but I'm sure Tam Tam has them too.
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I'd love to see that redemption arc.
Yeah. I don't want Elaine and Lucien. I don't think he deserves that. Like, the way that she treats him in the books. My poor baby.
Yeah.
I just want him to be happy with somebody that loves him. And I don't even like how Feyre treated him.
No.
Like, we need to do an ACOTAR season ASAP.
The week break should have been like, whoa, before we get into the second half of Throne of Glass, we're going to do all of ACOTAR and Crescent City.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Ain't no way you would make it to the end of that without finishing Throne of Glass series. Like, having to pause it for like a year.
Yeah, no.
Where we are now.
That ain't happening. It ain't happening. Well.
Love me some ACOTAR.
Oh, same. I just have like such a nostalgic.
Yeah, ACOTAR has my heart for the nostalgia, but Throne of Glass I still find the better series as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
ACOTAR is probably my
believe
bottom out of the... well, that got moved up after the third Crescent City, so we'll see what happens going forward. But as it stands right now, favorite to least favorite, Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Crescent City.
Wow.
But before the third Crescent City, ACOTAR and Crescent City were opposite.
I still have not finished the third Crescent City.
And you have to.
I know. I have the... because I was waiting for the graphic audio, the second part of the graphic audio.
Yeah.
And that released, I think it was last month, maybe. So I got it. Like, I got it with my Audible credit, but I just have not had the time at all. And stupidly, my new phone that I bought, which was a cheap phone because, you know, I don't have the patience or the time or whatever or the money to get like a fancy phone again. I just wanted something that can work. But apparently it does not work with Audible anymore. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. Not cool.
Sell it online and buy a new phone.
Yeah. So it's yeah, 100%. Just the sole fact that like I can't use Audible on this one now is enough for me to say, oh, okay, I guess I'm getting an expensive phone. But yeah. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, but we'll see.
Well, if you stuck around for our ACOTAR chat, we will see you next week.
Yay!
Bye!
And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass. Chapter, hear the call. Adventure.